What are some green flags early on in dating that the relationship should become serious? This was one of the most romantic things my husband did when we were early-ish in our relationship. He doesn't even remember it or think it was a big deal, but it was a huge green flag for me. I was preparing to move to a new apartment and had a ton of stuff going on in my life, including trying to coordinate moving out with expensive heat treatment for bedbugs that my a-hole landlord refused to be involved with. I was super stressed and drained, and when I was cleaning the fridge, one of the shelves inside literally shattered. I was basically beside myself and so frustrated because I knew that said a-hole landlord was going to screw me on my security deposit now after all I put up with. So I vented to my husband, then boyfriend, and was basically just like, I give up, everything is the worst. The next day he let me know that he had looked up my fridge model, found the shelf as a standalone piece and ordered it, and it would be there in 2 days, or whatever. I cried. I was so grateful. I was so overwhelmed and emotionally exhausted over the bedbugs, moving, and everything else, and the fact that he saw that and just took something off my plate and handled it was such a relief. It showed me what a supportive partner he could be, and it was just what I needed. Also, when my parents' dog, which I'd grown up with, got old and stopped being able to jump onto his favorite chair, my husband, then boyfriend, built a ramp for the dog so he could still get up there to sit with my mom. And he matched it to her decor on purpose. These were all things he just felt like, well, of course, it was needed about, but they reinforced what a caring, thoughtful, loving, true partner he was. He still seeks out ways to do little things to make my life easier all the time, many years later. Obviously, these examples are specific, but hopefully you see the overall green flag qualities they showed. On top of everything you said, he just sounds like a very intelligent, pragmatic, and action-oriented person. Yes, he is definitely all of those things. I had a similar moving/stress to the max situation with my, now, husband. He looked up, "Are you crying?" Me, crying over something so small and ridiculous, can only nod yes. He immediately fixed said small ridiculous thing. Together 10 years, still does this. Still makes me happy. What a nice person, smiley face. They genuinely like being able to do things to help you out and vice versa. They want you to be happy and you want them to be happy, and you're both willing to work/make reasonable sacrifices to make that happen for each other. Big evidence on the vice versa part though. The great feeling of helping someone out can fade fast once you realize you're being manipulated. Taking embarrassing crap in stride. This was pretty literal for me. Sorry, this is my second post. I used to have ulcerative colitis really severely, which led to me crapping myself far more often than one should crap themselves in their early 20s. When I first started seeing my husband, who is ASD, we'd drive from campus to my apartment, and I'd be like, white-knuckle concentrating on not crapping myself in his car, run up the stairs, usually barely making it to the bathroom before he walked through the door. One night I didn't make it. I'm basically hiding in the bathroom and turned on the shower BC, it's a gross mess. On the other side of the door, he's all, "Why are you always so mad at me when we drive to your place?" Did I say something? He'd been reading my try not to crap face as I'm angry. So I came clean and admitted I'd just crap myself, preparing for him to sort of back out slowly and end things as quickly as would be polite. This was within our first 2 months. His response instead: "Oh. So you just crap yourself? Where are your jeans?" "In the garbage." "That's silly. Jeans are expensive. The laundromat is locked for the night, but do you have a bucket or something? We can soak them overnight and wash them tomorrow. You're really not grossed out?" Shrug. Not like, you could help it. Just like, talk to me. I thought you were mad. Tell me what's going on, you know? I had feared that exact scenario since I started having UC symptoms. And my future hubs just rolled with it. Years later, when I had my colectomy, he bathed me in the hospital. After that, when he had to have a circumcision at 25, I looked after his stitches/changed his bandages several times a day, and we laughed about how gross stuff was. He's seriously the best. There's a relationship I was in for quite some time with a girl who had Crohn's to the extent of having an ostomy bag. She was so hesitant to share with me, not even her closest friends knew except one, but alas, something like that you can't keep secret forever from a partner you plan to be intimate with. She didn't want people to look at or treat her differently, to think she couldn't do things, and I don't blame her in many ways. I had and still do have so much respect for that woman. It did change my opinion about her, but in the sense I felt it made her shine more. She was very strong and soft-hearted, caring, determined, and ambitious. I had historically always thought to myself, sadly, that I didn't know how people could happily build lives with those who may have lifelong less than ideal situations like that. It really bothered me that I thought that too, and I'm sure in some ways she had the same fears of how will someone like me? After meeting her and getting to know her, it kind of just became clear. It never felt like a burden, it never felt annoying, it honestly in many ways made me like her more because it was a testament to her character. It was just a part of life, and life was still a-okay overall. Heck, even while intimate things like the ostomy bag never stood out, it was there sure, but in my head, it just wasn't something that mattered. I just saw her and she was beautiful regardless. It's unfortunate it didn't work out for other reasons, but I really value that relationship. She taught me so much about acceptance, better understanding the lack of knowledge we have of everyone else's world, and also about myself. Man, typing this out, I think I need to revisit those lessons. Edit, didn't expect this attention, fix 2 typos. I absolutely love this. You really can value a relationship even though it's ended. I still think fondly of my exes and am grateful for the lessons I learned from them. I hate that shows or movies often portray ex relationships as scorched earth, rather than an experience that's run its course. This exactly. You didn't date them for any reason. There was a reason. It didn't work out, so remember them and learn from it. You're the best kind of person in that regard. Sometimes we don't have a damned clue, but you learned well. You're inspirational, thank you. I was diagnosed with Crohn's in 2001 and met my future wife in 2005. Have had similar experiences and she was so chill about it, couldn't believe how lucky I was. We're celebrating 10 years of marriage this May. My husband and I have endless conversations. There's nothing we can't talk about. Nothing. The first time we ever chatted on the phone, we talked for 6 hours. We've been together for 15 years and still talk every day, several times a day. We love our breakfast time because we chat after eating and really enjoy each other's company. We love talking no matter where we are. And since he also works from home, we work together. There's lots of times we're saying nothing, just enjoying being around each other. But I love that we can talk about anything we want and it doesn't descend into an argument. We could talk or not talk for hours. And still find things to not talk about. We both like soup. When my husband and I first started dating, we went on our second date and went back to his house and sat and talked all night long. It seemed like minutes had passed when the sun started coming up. It's a little cheesy, but that's the night that I knew I was in love. I love this so much. My boyfriend and I were friends for a very long time before we dated. I remember sneaking home at 5 a.m. before my dad got up for work and noticed I was gone. I genuinely wasn't doing anything wrong, lol. My then friend and I would order pizza and talk for hours and hours. I dread leaving his house and I was always looking forward to hanging out again. We've been dating almost 3 years now. I always wait to eat dinner with him, whether it's at 6 p.m. or midnight, because I love talking with him while we cook and after we eat. That's our time and it's very special to me. Both people genuinely enjoying the conversation, being attentive to each other. No negative attitude either. To add to this, asking questions. If you're enjoying the conversation because you're dominating the talking, it makes people turned off. Ask them questions and expect them to ask you some in return. Show interest in them by asking questions about things they seem energized. This is huge in developing good conversations. On my second date, before I was supposed to move states, we got stuck in a parking garage cause of an accident for 45 minutes. We watched a non-subtitled foreign film on my phone, enjoyed talking with one another, and we connected despite being done with what we had planned to do and were stuck in a car. I ended up canceling my move and marrying the woman. Edit, just realized today was the day I proposed to her 3 years ago. Odd that it coincided with the post, lol. What a cute story. About 4 months into my relationship, I got injured. There was a chance that I wouldn't be able to walk again. My then girlfriend, now wife, said, "Don't worry, it's going to be okay. We can figure this out either way." I'm okay now, but just knowing she was going to stay with me no matter what was huge. We've been together 8 years now. We have our challenges, but at the end of the day, we both know we're there for each other. So, were you able to, walk? They said there was a chance they wouldn't be able to walk, instead of saying they lost the ability to walk, so I'm assuming they still can. How good is their company during a drive, or when there is nothing to do? My future wife and I found that we loved just spending time together. We could talk for hours in a car during a drive. Sometimes the drive was more interesting than where we were going. A few weeks into our relationship, we went through a drive-thru and she spontaneously unwrapped and rewrapped my burger so I could eat it while driving with clean hands. I knew I was going to marry her. Just over a week from now, it will be 23 years. Crap. My wife and I can drive for 3 hours without saying a word. She might jump out of the car if I wanted to talk for 3 hours and vice versa. Quiet time is fun time. I was going to say, comfortable silence is also healthy. Sometimes you just want a nap or a cuddle or to read a book or something. This is so adorable. Adjunct to this is enjoying their company in the car even without conversation. First few weeks of my relationship, we went on a road trip. I noticed in the moment how amazing it felt just sharing the space in the car with her, often for long periods of silence. If they respond well when you are dealing with a crisis situation, when you are seriously ill, or when your family member is seriously ill, they may be a keeper. In other words, how do they act/interact with you during times of stress? Does their presence/behavior help? Do they make it worse, or do they make themselves scarce? Isolation was doing a number on my relationship for a hot minute, cooped up, not seeing friends, nothing to get excited for, just generally feeling down and irritable. My partner and I were bickering more often about stupid little things, and we just weren't feeling great about things for a bit. Then we went on a drive down a forested dirt road to scope out possible campsites for the weekend, and ended up losing our brakes entirely, which had been inspected the week before but evidently not properly, followed shortly after by a flat tire. Then the spare also ended up being flat, reminder to check your spares regularly. It was getting late and help was on the way to meet us back at the main road, but to get to it we had to get down a steep hill without cell service, with a drop-off on one side. With no brakes and a tire, so flat it was basically hanging off the rims. It was not a good situation. He literally had to go down the hill and park with the emergency brake on to keep us from gaining speed. We were super in sync for it, kept our cool, talked our way through it, and all was well. Afterwards, we both felt way better about our relationship because when crap got real, we were partners working through it together. We worked through the little things and we've been doing great. My wife and I like to go kayaking on our anniversary. The first time we went was when I was 3 days out of detox, weren't married then. Still sober. We just showed up, rented a kayak, and headed out, with no regard for the tides. It was so much work. Especially getting through tight bridges and working against the tides. It was a great day, and we had to work together to keep from both getting exhausted at once and losing ground, water. Point is, I feel you on this story. It was a defining point in our relationship. I felt like crap, still in minor withdrawal. She was worried about me, just trying to keep my mind off drugs/alcohol. But during those few hours, it was just us, working together to literally stay afloat. 5 years later, she still has the selfie we took in the kayak as her background. Her explanation is that in a rough time, a hard day, we both were truly happy, big smiles and all. I wish you and your partner the best. They say that the true measure of a person is how they respond in bad times, not good times. Many people are saying it. The best people. Believe me. Being able to make each other laugh. Understanding the other person's sense of humor is critical in long relationships, and besides, do you really want to get serious with someone who can hardly make you laugh or smile? This is so important. I don't think people realize how many arguments can be avoided when you understand when someone is joking. Goes for relationships and general life relationships. I just broke up with someone who didn't understand that unnecessarily serious answers to funny/controversial comments is a form of humor for me and that my feelings are not hurt. Until I read this, I didn't realize how much strain this little fact had put on our interactions. You genuinely enjoy one another's company during dull moments. Life's full of them and you are going to want a partner who you can enjoy them with. I think silence is underappreciated in relationships in general, not just in romantic relationships. There's an oceanic feeling when you're with a good friend just quietly taking in the whole world around you. Oceanic is such a good word to describe this. Totally agree. I'm finding a lot of people are uncomfortable with silence or a lack of stimulation, and it's kind of difficult to deal with. Big one. I too am noticing how much people like to fill silence. I think I do it too to an extent with folks I'm not 100% comfortable with, but in a partner, I need someone who enjoys quiet and stillness a lot and is okay with those comfortable silences. When my now wife and I were dating, we started having introvert dates where one of us would come over and we'd just craft or work on projects in the same room, sometimes talking, sometimes putting a show on in the background. It was so cozy and domestic, like we already lived together. My girlfriend and I did similar things in college. She'd text me and ask to come over to sit in bed with me on her computer while I played video games. We'd sit there for like 3 or 4 hours without speaking and then order a pizza and carry on. We still never talk sometimes. We can talk or not talk for hours. We still find things to not talk about. I'm so glad you quoted this, I was hoping someone would. We both like soup. Some of my favorite times are when my boyfriend comes over to play video games while I work/draw. It's nice just to be able to relax and not have to be on all the time. When you can talk forever about pretty much anything, and when something you have different opinions about becomes an interesting discussion rather than a fight. Important. If you cannot air out your problems, making necessary accommodations, and have different opinions, do not think it will magically change when in relationship. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube and share them with your friends. We welcome your comments below. Press to start another of our videos.